What is up, everybody? Welcome. We're so glad you're here. Hey, Kevin, man, it is, man, by the look of it is Hope Week, man. We really love Hope Week.
We love Hope Week.
Beyond all things. But hey, listen.
We're so tired.
I can tell you what,
man.
But
it's so good.
It is so good. Let me ask you this. So far, I mean, this is, we're 3 days in today.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, to 4 days today. 3 days completed.
Yeah.
What has been something that you just absolutely have loved so far about Hope Week?
I love, this is not a specific story. This is just what it is. So Hope Week is our chance as a church to serve for an entire week, projects, different groups in our community, parks, things like that. And I just love, it is amazing the connections that you build getting out there working with those around you.
It's so good.
And so you go, I've met more people this week than I have in the last year. And I'm not a really extroverted person, so I don't meet a lot of people. So it's just like, it is just awesome just to go along. You learn so much about someone just shoveling mulch next to them, doing stuff like that.
Yeah, it's been so awesome.
How about you?
So, for me, I got to have some really great conversations with people I normally wouldn't have had to get the chance to speak to because of the crazy busyness of what happens on a weekend here.
Yeah.
Where we have to be in all different positions and places. And so this time has been specific, intentional time with people I wouldn't have had conversations. And they are great conversations too. Things that
That's
you
awesome.
really want to talk to people about, where they're going, where they are, and what God's doing in their lives. So it's been incredible.
Incredible.
So with that, welcome. You are listening to the Leading Hope Podcast. My name is VJ Williams, here with my friend and pastor, Kevin Jack. Thank you for joining us and taking time out of your day to become a better leader. If you're new, we release a new episode every Wednesday. The easiest way to remember that if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube is to just hit that subscribe button, and you're going to get that automatic notification every week to let you know. Also, post about it, share with a friend on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, and rate and review on Apple Podcast. A few extra minutes will absolutely help get this podcast in the hands of so many more leaders.
And it means the world to us.
And it would mean the world to one of us. And listen, this is going to be an exciting day. I'm excited about what you have here. Episode 87. 87. Hit E.
E. Hit E. This is not like the letter key E. To be clear, it's not like, boop. There you go. Put it in the chat. This is about, I want to talk about hitting empty. And I want to encourage you to hit empty from time to time. Now, hang with me, Kate, because I want to build this out for a little bit. So on my wrist, I have the fitness tracker that I use is a Whoop. I do not mean this to be product. Go ahead.
There it is.
That made me laugh. This is great. This is not meant to be product placement for Whoop, but what the Whoop does is it tracks your strain and your recovery. So every day it gives you a score like, hey, this is how much strain you've built up. And then it shows, hey, in order for you to properly recover, you need to spend this much time sleep, different things like that. And so it'll show you, based upon your level of recovery, then this is the strain you should have. So that just that's how it functions. Over a couple weeks, I noticed that my strain was always much, much, much lower than my recovery. And the Whoop would give me a little message every day. It says like, hey, your level of strain is great for continuing recovery. We go, but I'm not trying to build recovery. That's not my goal. And I looked at this like, it was like week after week, I was never, so it gives you like, hey, you're in recovery mode, or you're optimizing your training. Or then it had this other category was that you are overreaching. You are now straining beyond your level of recovery. And I just want to take it just 1 second, get out of my Whoop discussion to imagine that scenario in your own life as to like how much responsibility you have on you, how much work you have on you, different things that you're doing versus how much relaxation, recovery, no leisure. We already covered that another week. No more leisure in your life. But to go, hey, what does that actually look like? And if I go beyond my level of recovery, what it will say is it says this amount of strain will promote fitness gains, but will need more recovery. So say, hey, this is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It will promote like, hey, a greater level of progress than you had before. You just need to know recovery needs to be a part of this. And this became my realization physically it became my realization in terms of leadership as well. Something I'm aware of, but I hadn't been pushing myself in, is to say, hey, from time to time, you should be overreaching. From time to time, you should be hitting a spot in which you are hitting empty. You're going, I'm done, I'm tired, I'm worn out, I'm exhausted. That should be happening. That will promote gains. That will promote advanced capacity. That will promote a better way of doing stuff. And I want to say, like, right from the start, this is what I'm not saying, okay? Because that's what people are like, well, what about this? This is what I'm not saying. I'm not saying you should continuously run yourself into the ground. I am not saying you should be exhausted all the time. I am not saying you should wear yourself out over and over again. What I'm saying in this episode is when you do push yourself, you will increase your capacity, you'll find better ways of doing things, and you'll gain strength you never would have if you hadn't pushed yourself. And so this is kind of like, hey, in your leadership, like me and my Whoop, we might be living in a constant state of recovery. We might live in this continued state of like, hey, I'm not really exerting myself. And then the tendency is when we are pushed beyond our ability, we act like it's the worst thing ever and we overreact. And that's what I want to prevent in your life. That's what I want to honestly prevent and come out ahead of in my life, is that there's always a tendency within me when someone gives me more than I can handle in the moment. This is going to sound like an oxymoron, like it's not going to make sense, just to be clear. I can handle more than I can handle from time to time. Putting more than I can handle on me is a good thing from time to time. Now, if I live in a constant state of more than I can handle, I'm going to wear out and exhaust myself. But from time to time, that is a good thing. And what I see happen in my own life at times and what I see happen in others is all of a sudden more than we can handle is put on us, and we act as if it's like torture. And we act as if it's like the worst thing ever. And to go, no, that's a good thing. So I've heard this amazing story. I just really wanted to get to this story. And then I want to talk about Hope Week and kind of not just what it is, but what it does to us and everything else. That there's this guy, and what he specializes in is increasing pitchers' pitch speed, increasing the miles per hour when they pitch. And so what he does is he has these special cameras that what they do is he'll bring a pitcher in, he'll have him throw a couple pitches, and he will measure their arm speed versus the speed of the ball. There should be a strong correlation between your arm speed and between the speed of the ball when they throw. And so what he specializes in is that when there is a pitcher that has a high arm speed, but their ball speed does not match, their pitch speed does not match in terms of their arm speed, he has these routines and strengthening things that he does to help increase their pitch speed. The thing that he does, the most important thing that he does, is he gives them a heavier ball to throw. He says, you're used to throwing this baseball. Let me give you a really heavy ball. And the science behind it is that when you are throwing a heavier ball, your body will naturally eliminate the inefficiencies that you have in the mechanics of your throw. And so he gives them a heavier ball for a period of time. And then he will give them back a regular baseball. And there's been guys that their pitch, like Major League Baseball players, who their pitch speed has gone up 10 miles an hour because their body naturally worked out the inefficiencies. This is what I believe happens when you give yourself the opportunity to hit empty from time to time. When you run yourself hard for a season, for a week, not for a year, but for a period of time that is predictable, that you are able to recover from, you will naturally lead in a different way. You'll naturally delegate in a different way. You'll handle your responsibilities differently that you never would have had you not pushed yourself. So, VJ, we are in like smack dab in the middle of this.
Yes.
Like this is Hope Week.
This is Hope Week.
What day is it?
It is, today is Wednesday.
There we go.
Because the podcast comes out.
Because the podcast
comes out. I know that.
Because other than that, we've had stuff every night. We've had stuff all week. Like,
yeah. And the planning doesn't stop in the midst of the week.
I know. Like, it would be great. We should have canceled services for this coming weekend. Like, that's it. I give it in light of the whoop. Like, we are
there it is.
whooped coming into this podcast.
Yeah.
So what are you learning about yourself in light of this?
I'm learning that recovery is real.
Yeah.
That it's not a myth. And that if I'm not learning how to recover, I won't learn how to be the best version of me.
Good.
Also, I think, first of all, the analogy of the pitcher and the coach is fantastic.
Oh, isn't that story so good?
It's really good. I think a lot of people will, when we talk about being on empty. We are as a society, we want to talk about that way more than the recovery piece.
Oh, that's good.
And I want to know from your perspective on the other side of it is if we're never recovering,
oh yeah,
are we even doing anything?
Oh, talk more.
Like if you're not ever recovering from anything, what are you pushing yourself to where you can actually get to the best version of you?
Mm-hmm. So I think this is ready. Let's talk about like sleep-wise.
Yeah.
Say, if you get 4 hours of sleep a night, unless if you're like a crazy person and dysfunctional biorhythms and stuff like that, 4 hours of sleep, you're going to be tired.
Yeah.
If you get 12 hours of sleep a night, you're going to be tired.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the reality. And I think for some of us, what has happened, and I'm not like people are like, it always makes me laugh because sometimes the pushback of it's an email or a comment or a text or something like that is like, yeah, but what about this? But what about that? I'm not saying you're that person, but if you're really pushing back on this, you might be that person, to be clear.
Right.
Like, I know when I have overexerted myself.
Yeah.
I'm aware and I go, this pace is unsustainable.
Right.
But I do know that season when I watched it with the Whoop,
Yep.
and to go, I felt tired.
Yeah.
Even though I had done nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I was not overreaching. I was not overexerting myself in any way. And so there is a good balance of like, hey, this is what building up strain, taking on responsibility, and having recovery is good from.
Yeah.
And it is good from time to time to overexert ourselves to take on more than we can handle.
Yeah, and I think Hope Week is an example of that.
Yeah.
For many of us, not just staff. I mean, people that have jobs, they're taking off half days.
Yep.
They're taking off half days to come out and be part of a community and really just do what they've been called to do. And they're doing it not just one night, 2 nights. They're doing it every night. And I look at that and I say, they have kids, they have sports, they've got all these things, but they're saying, man, this matters. So maybe the toll on my body, it might be hard. It may put me in empty. I know I'll need recovery, but it means the world to somebody.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do it because of that.
I even look at the dynamics of our team and how this has changed that. So, like, we go, there's so much going on. And so we have, like, it's amazing to watch which meetings this week got canceled, which meetings this week got shortened. So, like, yeah, we usually go 2 hours. We're only going an hour. And I'm thinking, do you need to actually go for 2 hours?
Yeah.
Or can you actually get this done in an hour and you just let it fill 2 hours because you have 2 hours? And how much more efficient we become in the work that we're doing when there is more than is on us. There is no time of the year that you get more work done than the week before you leave for vacation.
It's crazy. We just talked about this the other day.
It's like everything gets tied up, everything gets finished. You you nail it out, you get all the prep work done, and to go, man, if I could operate every week of the year like that,
right,
I would get so much more done.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Right, yeah. So what stops us? Well, I mean, what's the barrier from us not maybe working at that to your point, unsustainable pace, but something that looks like it?
Yeah, my first nature is my first response as a pastor wants to just be sinful human nature because you can throw that as a blanket over everything and it's moderately applicable. Yeah. But I don't think this is helpful. I think it is just easy it is easy when you have any rhythm to become complacent about that rhythm. And all of a sudden, we don't have an urgency about the life that we live and the work that we're doing.
Oh, it's good.
And so I think one of the best, so hear this as my desire for you is not that you would go on this idea of like, hey, hit empty from time to time. Don't hit empty just to hit empty.
Right.
Don't hit empty just to be like, well, I'm completely exhausted. I stayed up all night. I got no sleep. Good for me.
Yeah.
Hit empty so that you know what it's like to push yourself so that when you come out of it, you're better for it.
Oh, that's good.
Like trainers, athletes, like sprinters, they're not sprinting all out every single practice. Like they're not going as hard as they absolutely can. There's time for technique. There's time for training. There's time for different skill work. And then there's time to run as hard as you possibly can. Yeah. That's not all the time.
Yeah.
And so I don't want anyone to go like, every single day I need to grind it out. You're probably not going to be able to. You're probably going to wear yourself out. But there should be times that you're grinding it out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're falling far beneath what your capacity actually is.
That's so good. Hey, we've got a few minutes left here. If you guys have any questions, make sure you drop it in the chat, either on YouTube or on Facebook, and we'll try to get to those. But we got home late. Everyone did. Late on Tuesday night. And I felt
last night.
Last night, yeah. No, was it last night? I'm sorry, Monday night. No, was it Tuesday night? It's one of the nights.
We told you we can't keep our days straight.
But I got home. Obviously, we're exhausted. Just a full day getting ready, then doing it, preparing. All the stuff's coming up, getting ready for that. And I put a post out on our Facebook group for our church, and I just said, "Hey, is this not the best? Like, how incredible have this been? Who else is having a blast?"
Yeah.
And there's all these people just responding, "Yeah, we're tired, but man, it's a good
tired.
And there's a good tired. There's
tired.
a good exhaustion, and that's the exhaustion we all need to be fighting for."
Yeah.
Right? Is that we are – I knew no one on our staff was surprised that Hope Week was coming. Like, it's not a surprise. It's the same thing like God's
They better not have been.
God's not surprised when we do dumb stuff. Like, God's not surprised. We're not surprised about Hope Week, right? Like, that's not a surprise. We know, but going in knowing that we're going to be exhausted and coming out of it, the impact that's going to happen, the things, the conversations, the things that people will realize about who God is and why Be Hope Church is doing what they're doing matters immensely. That hitting E is going to be great by the end of this week. I don't care how tired we are.
It's good. To put a scripture perspective on this, one of the most quoted Bible verses is, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." And then one of the also most quoted Christian phrases is, "God will never give you more than you can handle." And to say those two don't agree with each other in any way. He says, "I can do all things through Christ, not through me."
Yeah.
And so when you say God will never give me more than he can handle, than I can handle, yes, he will, because he wants to teach you not just to rely upon yourself. If I'm not hitting E from time to time, I can say this, the weeks that I am worn out, exhausted, I am praying more than I do at any other time.
Yeah.
I'm relying on others more than I do at any other time.
Yeah.
That is the growth that God gives you in your life.
Yeah.
And so if you're never pushing, you're never learning to rely on someone beyond yourself.
Ooh, I like where you've taken this. This is starting to get real good, and we're both out of time because that's it, man. Like, and I think that's the desperation that we really need to understand, is that when we do hit E or hit empty or hit E, whatever we want to call it, is when I need to hit my knees and say, "God,
look at that! You even made it rhyme."
Yeah,
we're preaching now, folks.
You're the one, the God of everything, the God of my life is the one that can only recover me.
Yeah,
I can't find it anywhere else.
Oh, that's good. Hey, so let me close it out with this idea to say, you're tired. Yeah, humanity, world, you're tired.
Yeah.
Why? Like, why are you tired? Are you actually tired because there's too much leisure? If you go back, watch the what do we call that? Killing leisure, destroying, decapitating leisure, something like that. I don't know. It was probably too violent. I've made it more violent now. But like, why are you tired? Are you tired because there's too much other stuff, or are you good tired? Because from time to time, that's what I want for you. I want you to experience, I'm tired, but man, this was so good. This was so worth it, and I'm going to come out of it better. I can't run we can't do Hope Year.
Yeah.
It's too much. Yeah. But we can do Hope Week.
Absolutely.
And so what can you do in your life that will hit empty in a good way that then you can then recover from and be better for?
That's awesome, man. That's the end of episode 87, Hit E. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're new to the podcast or haven't yet subscribed, to mean the world to us if you did that now. Also, post about it, rate and review. You won't believe how that helps get this podcast in the hands of so many more leaders just like you watching today. We love hearing your stories of how the podcast is working in your life and business. If you have a story, visit leadinghope.online. Send that to us. We'd love to hear from you. Hey, guys, it's Hope Week. We've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Be a part. We want you to see what God can do through you. Have a great week. And remember, everyone has 20 minutes to learn to become a better leader. Make it count.